Okay, this is Double Helix Review. Jung-Ah Kim and Janice McCoy reviewing Ancillary Justice by Ann Leckie.
Right, so let's give you a summary about what we're reviewing. The mysterious protagonist, Breck, is on a mission to find a dangerous artifact of an extinct civilization when she acquires a seemingly useless sidekick that brings back memories of her past as an ancillary on a ship. Set in an indeterminate future on alien planets, the book deals with various human themes as the protagonist struggles against her conditioning for a very human reason: revenge. So did it work for us?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Not surprising. This is one of the most award-winning books of the year and of recent memory, in fact. Getting the Hugo and the Nebula, just to name a couple. So what works for us? Start?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing that we think works in the sense of it opens up your mind to the fact that we are conditioned ourselves is the gender, the use of the pronoun she throughout the entire novel.
Yes. For every character, male or female. And this is, we are told, a product of the language of the largest political group in the book, which doesn't distinguish gender.
Right.
Everyone gets the same pronoun, and Ann Leckie has elected to use she as that universal pronoun, which I think is such a great challenge to our universal he,
Yes.
which we find so problematic for so many reasons.
And unfortunately for me, it was problematic a little bit. I had stumbling blocks along the way.
But that was part of what I got out of the book, was to highlight how, even as someone who considers herself a feminist, how difficult it was for me to just accept she.
Right, because that's the conditioning that we receive.
Right. She always means female. It doesn't just mean human being.
Exactly. Whereas he is a stand-in for everybody.
Right.
So yeah, so that was very interesting. Another take, a new take on an issue that's presented by the book is a fresh look at space opera by looking at post-colonization. What happens after the annexation, or the rebellion, or whatever it is that is usually not this point where a sci-fi novel starts.
Yeah, most stories start with either the annexation or the rebellion, not with, you've been taken over. Welcome to the Empire. Here's life now.
Right.
Which was really interesting and such a good critique, too, of the problems of empire and colonialism.
Right. And this is one of the great examples where science fiction can bring in, issues that we see outside of fiction, which, it's relevant. It's still there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. An interesting mirror for us to look at ourselves in the same way that the gender is an interesting mirror for us to look at. And without being a literal mirror, right? It's fiction, it's science fiction, it's fantastical, but there are elements there that you can recognize.
Right. And then also, we thought this was very interesting. The book takes up the issue of identity. What is identity? What does it mean to be an individual?
Yeah.
And in here, it also raises it against the contrast of what is a hive mind, which is really fascinating. I mean, it's one of the things that I found very interesting in the book.
Yes. I'm living with someone who is kind of obsessed with artificial intelligence. It was really interesting to see it worked out in a fictional world. So, yeah, if you're interested at all in the idea of artificial intelligence and where that might go, and this is a great thought experiment, kind of.
Yeah. And then finally, one of the other issues, one of the many themes that are brought out beautifully in this book is class, which is unusual, but it's something that I think is very relevant. Does breeding mean that you are breeding the ability of, or aptitude to a certain station? Or is it actually, forget about breeding, it's about your own personal ability? Well, is it? And it raises these questions, and it leaves us to decide which side we think.
It's not a novel that tells you what to think. It's
No.
just a novel that asks you to think, which I really appreciate. I didn't think there was a particular social agenda that was, it's a critique of colonialism. I wouldn't say it's too ambivalent about colonialism, but
No.
it does show some of the benefits of colonialism. maybe a little. I don't know.
I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah.
I think it was intended to be a
Critique of colonialism.
I think so.
So there is an agenda there.
But on the other things that we've talked about, I'm not so sure that there is a clear-cut answer that the author's providing, and I don't think that was her intent.
No, I don't think so either. Just make you think about things.
Right.
Which is what I look for in science fiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it really worked for me.
It was a feast of ideas, really.
Truly a feast. And I'm so looking forward to the sequel, which is coming out soon.
Right. So we thought about what doesn't work.
We thought very hard.
We really did. As a trying to be unbiased review, we tried.
Yeah. Couldn't really come up with anything.
No. Yeah, no.
There may be some people who find her questioning of our gender norms to be troubling.
Or maybe distracting.
Or distracting.
Right.
Right.
But we think that, the prose and the ideas are so fresh and strong that it would probably lead you to quickly immerse yourself into this new world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah, so overall, what works are the themes that we've discussed, the strong characters that are outlined.
Absolutely. Lots of great characters.
Yeah, and an interesting, very intricate, complicated plot. And it's a richly layered story that also carries that plot. This book is a very satisfying read for sci-fi fans. And we're not talking about fans that may be necessarily extremely fond of the space opera.
You don't have to be into space opera to appreciate this, I don't think.
No, I think it's got a wider audience than that.
If you don't want to be hooked into a new series, maybe avoid it.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to start something that looks like it's going to be really good, join us.
Yes.